A modern bathroom mirror cracked into two fused broken hearts, shards reflecting a terrified face, blood dripping, supernatural and detailed horror atmosphere.
Undead City. The night comes alive. Believe it or don't. It's entirely your choice.
Yes, believe it or not, the choice is yours. Are you ready to listen? So, sit back, if you dare, and listen closely.
Love doesn't always die when a relationship ends. Sometimes it transforms into something darker, hungrier. In a small coastal town, 5 couples have vanished in the last 2 years. Police found no evidence of struggle, no signs of forced entry, just empty homes with half-finished meals and unmade beds. The only connection: each couple had recently broken up, and in each abandoned home, investigators discovered the same strange symbol carved into bedroom mirrors: 2 broken hearts fused together with what looks like teeth. The first disappearance barely made local news. Jessica Winters and Marcus Chen had been together for 3 years before their messy breakup last January. Neighbors reported hearing a terrible argument, doors slamming, then silence. When Jessica's mother couldn't reach her for 4 days, she called police. They found an empty apartment, Jessica's car still in the garage, Marcus's wallet on the kitchen counter. The strangest detail: both their phones were found in the bathtub, completely drained of battery, displaying the same unsent text message: "I still love you." 2 months later, Alicia and Devin Ramirez disappeared, just days after filing for divorce. Married for 7 years, their separation was reportedly amicable. Devin moved into a rental property just 3 blocks away. On March 12th, both failed to show up for work. Investigators found Devin's rental empty, while the former shared home showed signs of a dinner for 2 wine glasses, 2 plates of partially eaten pasta. No fingerprints except theirs. The bathroom mirror bore the same strange marking: 2 broken hearts, merged together with jagged lines resembling teeth. By the 3rd disappearance, police started connecting the dots. Each missing couple had recently broken up. Each had been together for over 2 years. Each vanished without struggle. And each home contained the bizarre symbol, which local folklore expert Dr. Marina Kozlov identified as an ancient binding mark. In certain pre-Christian European traditions, Kozlov explained in her police statement, this symbol represented the forced reunion of separated lovers. It was carved into objects belonging to the couple, supposedly compelling them to reunite in this life or the next. The 4th couple never even lived together. Trent Wilson and Kai Park had dated throughout college, breaking up just after graduation. They maintained separate apartments on opposite sides of town, yet somehow they both disappeared on the same night. Trent's roommate reported hearing him talking to someone in his room around midnight. "I thought he had a date over. I heard 2 voices, but one didn't sound right. Too deep, like someone talking through water." Local police called in state investigators after the 5th disappearance last month. This time, there was finally evidence: security footage from a neighbor's doorbell camera. The grainy video shows Rachel and Sam Goldman, separated for 6 months, walking hand in hand down their former shared driveway at 1 a.m. Their expressions are blank, eyes fixed forward. Behind them walks a 3rd figure, tall and thin, its proportions slightly wrong, as if wearing someone else's skin. The footage distorts when this figure turns toward the camera, but analysts claim it appears to be smiling too widely for a human face. Dr. Kozlov believes the disappearances connect to local legends about the Lover's Cave, a seaside cavern 15 miles north of town. According to stories dating back to the 1800s, the cave was once used for forbidden marriages. couples rejected by their families would pledge themselves to each other inside the cave, carving their initials into the stone walls. But the stories also warn that something lives in the cave's deepest chamber, something that feeds on broken vows. The entity is called many names in different accounts, Dr. Kosloff explained. The matchmaker, the collector, the marriage keeper. It supposedly punishes those who break love's promises by forcing them back together permanently. Last week, a search of Lover's Cave revealed disturbing findings. Deep in the narrowest passages beyond where tourists typically venture, investigators discovered a chamber with walls covered in thousands of initials. Freshly carved among them were the initials of all 5 missing couples. Police also found scraps of clothing matching items the missing people had been wearing on the days they vanished. Most disturbing of all was a collection of photographs, Polaroids showing each couple embracing. The images are dated after their disappearances. In each photo, the couples smile widely at the camera, their eyes completely black, their bodies pressed together so tightly it's hard to tell where one person ends and the other begins. In the background of each image are stone walls that match the cave's interior. The cave search was cut short when 2 officers became separated from the main group. They were found 3 hours later, disoriented and confused, with no memory of where they'd been. Both officers had the broken heart symbol drawn on their wrists in what forensics later confirmed was human blood. Town records reveal another chilling pattern. Every 20 years dating back to the town's founding in 1882, multiple couples have vanished without explanation. Each disappearance occurred shortly after a relationship ended. Local historian Elliot Matthews uncovered journal entries from 1922 describing the hungry thing in the cave that stitches lovers back together when they tried apart. The search for the missing couples continues, but hope dims with each passing day. Park rangers have closed Lover's Cave to the public. Some locals claim to hear weeping from the seaside at night. Voices calling each other's names, begging to be separated again. The most recent development came just 3 days ago. Police received an anonymous package containing 3 more Polaroid photos. These show the missing couples again, but something has changed. Their bodies appear fused at the shoulders and hips, their faces stretched into permanent smiles. Written on the back of each photo is the same message. Love is forever. Death is just the beginning. Detectives working the case have started checking on recently broken up couples throughout the county, warning them to stay together until the investigation concludes. But for those already marked by the entity, it might be too late. The 7th broken-hearted couple in town just filed for divorce yesterday, and last night their bathroom mirror cracked on its own, the glass splitting into the unmistakable pattern of 2 broken hearts merging back together. Falling in love with the dead isn't always a choice. Jenny Morris didn't believe in ghosts until she moved into 317 Willow Street. The Victorian house was a steal, priced well below market value. The real estate agent mentioned complicated history, but nothing about the previous owner who still lived there. Each night, Jenny feels the bed dip beside her. Cold fingers trace her cheek, and sometimes, in the bathroom mirror, she catches glimpses of him watching her. The ghost of Thomas J. isn't angry or vengeful. He's lonely, and he's falling in love with her. The most terrifying part, Jenny's starting to love him back. The house on Willow Street had been empty for 3 years before Jenny bought it. Locals avoided it. Children dared each other to touch the front gate. Previous potential buyers reported bad feelings during viewings. One couple claimed to hear whispers from empty rooms, but Jenny, fresh from a divorce and desperate for a new start, saw only the beautiful woodwork, stained glass windows, and the price she could actually afford. The first night, she blamed the strange sounds on old pipes and settling floors. By the third night, when her blankets were gently tucked around her while she slept, she knew something else was happening. Thomas J. died in the master bedroom in 2019. The official cause was heart failure, but town gossip hinted at suicide. He had lost his wife to cancer the year before and never recovered. According to neighbors, Daniel changed after his wife's death. He spoke about seeing her in the house, feeling her presence. Many assumed grief had broken his mind. Now it seems he was telling the truth. Some spirits do stay behind. Jenny first saw Daniel 2 weeks after moving in. She was soaking in the clawfoot tub when the bathroom suddenly turned cold. The mirror fogged despite the dropping temperature, and a man's handwriting appeared in the condensation. "You're not alone." Instead of running, Jenny felt a strange calm. That night, she spoke aloud to the empty house, introducing herself. The lights flickered in response, and so began their unusual relationship. Thomas couldn't materialize fully at first. Jenny would catch brief glimpses, a shadow passing doorways, a reflection that wasn't hers, indentations on the sofa beside her. But as weeks passed, his manifestations grew stronger. One morning, she woke to find a man sitting at her kitchen table, transparent but unmistakably present. He disappeared when she gasped, but returned that night, lasting longer. Local historian Martin Welch has documented 5 cases of domicile spirits forming attachments to new residents. Unlike vengeful hauntings, these spirits seek connection, Welch explained. They're lonely, aware of their state, but unable to move on. They become fixated on the living, especially those who acknowledge them. The danger, Welch warns, lies in reciprocation. When the living begin to prefer ghostly company to human relationships, the barrier between worlds thins. The spirit grows stronger while the living person fades, becoming more ghost-like themselves. Jenny noticed small changes in her own behavior first. She stopped inviting friends over, canceled dates, called in sick to work just to stay home with Thomas. She began setting 2 places at dinner, leaving the TV on channels he preferred, playing music from his era. Her power bills skyrocketed as Thomas drained energy to manifest, but she didn't care. By month 3, Jenny started seeing Thomas almost completely solid for brief periods. They developed a system of communication. 1 knock for yes, 2 for no. He could move small objects, turn pages in books, even type short messages on her computer. Through these fragments, she learned his story, his grief after losing his wife, his loneliness, his surprise at finding himself still in the house after death, his growing feelings for Jenny. Neighbors noticed Jenny looking paler, thinner. She spoke about we and us when referring to household decisions. Motion-activated security cameras captured her having animated conversations with empty chairs. When her sister visited, she found the house freezing cold, despite summer heat, and Jenny unwilling to leave, even for short errands. She told me she was dating someone, but he was very private, her sister reported. When I asked his name, she said I wouldn't believe her if she told me. I found 2 toothbrushes in her bathroom, 2 robes hanging on the door. But whenever I entered a room, I felt like I was interrupting something. The physical manifestations of the relationship became increasingly concerning. Jenny developed unexplainable bruises on her arms and neck, marks she insisted were signs of affection, not aggression. She lost weight rapidly, as if something was feeding off her energy. Motion sensors triggered throughout the night, capturing images of Jenny sleepwalking, standing in corners for hours, whispering to the walls. Dr. Elena Kazan, paranormal psychology researcher, explains this as energy parasitism. the process by which spirits draw life force from the living to maintain their presence. What makes these cases particularly dangerous is the willingness of the victim. When someone welcomes this energy drain, seeing it as a form of intimacy or connection, they often don't realize how much they're giving up until it's too late. Last month, Jenny's employer filed a missing person report after she failed to show up for work for 2 weeks. Police performed a welfare check at the house. They found it immaculate, but abandoned looking. No dirty dishes, no signs of recent cooking. The bed was made as if unused. Jenny herself was discovered in the attic, emaciated and confused, surrounded by old photographs of Thomas and his deceased wife. "She's here now too," Jenny told officers. "We're all together. It's what Thomas wanted, a complete family." During her hospital stay, Jenny would have conversations with empty chairs, laugh at unheard jokes. Her doctor noted that her body temperature registered consistently below normal. Most disturbing were the security camera footage showing her hospital room door opening and closing on its own, and items moving across her bedside table when she was clearly asleep. After her release, Jenny returned to the house despite her family's objections. She denied any danger, insisting she'd never been happier. "You don't understand," she told her sister. "Love doesn't have to end at death. Sometimes it's just beginning." Neighbors report seeing 2 silhouettes in Jenny's windows at night now, sometimes 3. The house lights turn on and off in patterns. Music from different decades plays at all hours. Last week, a delivery person claimed to see a woman with Jenny in the doorway, a woman who disappeared when directly addressed. Jenny hasn't been to work in over a month. Her phone goes directly to voicemail. The only recent contact anyone's had is a text she sent her sister 3 days ago. "I'm fading into his world instead of him entering mine. It hurts less than I expected. Soon we won't need the house anymore." The property records for 317 Willow Street were updated yesterday. The house is back on the market. The real estate listing mentions its complicated history, but highlights its beautiful woodwork and stained glass windows. The asking price is surprisingly affordable. The listing includes recent photos of empty rooms, but if you look closely at the bedroom mirror, you might notice 3 reflections where there should be none. They appear to be holding hands. They only come at night. When 19-year-old Mia Carson took the night shift at Oakwood Cemetery, she expected quiet, easy money. She didn't expect company. Every night at exactly 1:17 a.m., the ghosts emerge from their graves. They don't moan or rattle chains or seek vengeance. They gather like old friends, laughing, dancing to music only they can hear. Most disturbing of all, they've noticed Mia watching, and one of them, a young man who died in 1962, has started waiting for her by the caretaker's cabin. He leaves frost roses on her windowsill. He watches her sleep. And last night he finally spoke. "You remind me of someone I used to love, someone I couldn't let go." Oakwood Cemetery sits on the outskirts of town, 40 acres of rolling hills and ancient trees. During the day, it's peaceful. Grieving families visit loved ones, groundskeepers trim hedges, tour guides lead history walks past the graves of local founders. But at night, the cemetery transforms. Maya took the night watch person job despite warnings from the previous employee who quit after just 3 weeks. "You'll see things," he'd said, hands shaking as he handed over the keys. "Things that can't be explained. Just don't engage with them. Don't let them know you see them." For the first week, Mia saw nothing unusual during her midnight to dawn shifts. She patrolled the grounds, checked for vandals, and studied for her college classes in the small caretaker's cabin. Then came the first night of the full moon. At precisely 1:17 a.m., the temperature dropped suddenly. Mia's breath clouded in front of her face despite it being summer. Through the cabin window, she saw them emerging, misty figures rising from graves, taking solid form as they reached the surface. Dozens of them from every era. Women in Victorian dresses gliding between headstones. Men in 1940s military uniforms gathering by the old oak tree. Children from centuries past playing silent games of tag. Mia thought she was hallucinating from lack of sleep. She recorded the scene on her phone, but the video showed only empty grounds, moonlight casting strange shadows. Yet when she looked up from the screen, the ghosts remained, growing more solid by the minute. At the center of the gathering stood a young man who appeared different from the others. While they were translucent with blurred features, he seemed almost solid. He wore clothes from the early 1960s, a leather jacket, jeans rolled at the cuffs. According to the cemetery records, his name was James Miller, dead at 20 from a motorcycle accident in 1962. His grave was marked by a simple stone with the inscription, "Forever young, forever waiting." That first night, James noticed Mia watching. While the other spirits ignored the living, he approached the cabin, standing at her window, his pale face curious. Mia pulled the curtains closed, heart racing. When she finally gathered courage to look again, an hour later, he was gone, but a perfect frost flower had formed on the outside of her window, intricate ice crystals in the shape of a rose. Each night after that, the same routine. The spirits emerged at 1:17. They socialized, seemingly reliving moments from their lives. And James waited by Mia's window, leaving frost roses. Sometimes he'd press his hand against the glass, leaving a perfect handprint that wouldn't melt until sunrise. Mia began researching James in town records. He'd been engaged to a woman named Elizabeth Collins. On the night of his accident, they'd had an argument. He was rushing to apologize when he crashed. Elizabeth moved away shortly after his funeral, married someone else, lived a long life. She died just 3 months ago at age 81. The timing can't be coincidence, explained paranormal researcher Dr. Simone Park when Mia finally confided in someone. Some spirits remain tethered to people, not places. With Elizabeth gone, James is seeking a new anchor, and you, Mia, share something with her, perhaps a physical resemblance, an energy signature, something he recognizes. What made the situation truly chilling was how James's behavior escalated. 2 weeks in, Mia arrived for her shift to find the cabin already cold, frost patterns covering the interior walls. Objects moved when she wasn't looking. Her coffee would be mysteriously stirred. The radio turned to stations playing 1960s music. By the third week, Mia began finding old photographs tucked into her textbooks, her bag, even her jacket pockets. Black and white images of James and Elizabeth. In each photo, Elizabeth's face was scratched out. The cemetery office had no record of how these photos got there. Security cameras showed nothing unusual, just the photos appearing as if from thin air. Last Monday at exactly 1:17, James spoke for the first time. Mia had fallen asleep at her desk inside the cabin. She woke to find him sitting across from her, more solid than ever, his eyes reflecting light that wasn't there. "You remind me of someone I used to love," he said, his voice like static on an old radio. "Someone I couldn't let go." When Mia tried to respond, frost formed on her lips, sealing them shut. The temperature in the cabin dropped so low that water glasses shattered. James reached out, his fingers stopping just short of touching her cheek. "Elizabeth left me." "But you won't, will you? You'll stay with me every night, forever." The next night, Mia found all the clocks in the cabin stuck at 1:17. No matter how many times she reset them, they returned to that exact minute. Her phone died every night at the same time, coming back to life at dawn with dozens of voicemails containing only static and what sounded like a motorcycle engine. Cemetery groundskeepers began finding frost roses on random graves each morning, creating a trail between James's headstone and the caretaker's cabin. Mia's name appeared scratched into his tombstone below the original inscription. the letters filling with frost each night. Most disturbing was what happened when Mia tried calling in sick last Thursday. She physically couldn't leave her apartment at nightfall. Every door she approached frosted over, impossible to open. Windows fogged with the message, "See you tonight." Her car wouldn't start. Eventually, she felt an invisible force guiding her toward the cemetery, like cold hands pressed against her back. Dr. Park installed thermal cameras in the cabin. The footage revealed a startling pattern. As Mia slept during her shifts, James's form would become increasingly solid while Mia's heat signature dimmed. "He's drawing energy from you," Dr. Park explained. "Each interaction strengthens his connection to this world while weakening yours to it." Yesterday, the cemetery board voted to close the grounds at night after multiple complaints from neighbors about music and laughter coming from among the graves. They've terminated the night watch person position, effective immediately, but Mia knows it's too late. Last night, she woke at exactly 1:17 in her own apartment, miles from the cemetery. James sat at the foot of her bed, more solid than ever. Behind him stood other figures, the spirits from Oakwood, now able to follow him beyond the cemetery gates. "We brought the party to you," James said, his voice clearer than before. "I told them about you, how special you are, how you can see us when no one else can." The figures crowded into her small bedroom, their cold presence making the walls glisten with frost. As they reached toward her with pale hands, Mia noticed something that turned her blood to ice. In her dresser mirror, she could see her bed reflected, the spirits surrounding it, James sitting at the foot, but her own reflection was missing. Where she should have been, there was only an empty space. True love sees beyond appearances. At least that's what they say. For Ellie Morgan, it was never just a saying. Since childhood, she's been able to see what others can't. Auras surrounding people, revealing their true nature. Golden halos around kind souls. Murky clouds around the cruel. A useful gift until she met David. Charming, attentive David, whose perfect smile and gentle touch won over everyone, her friends, her family, even her suspicious roommate. Everyone except Ellie, because around David was something she'd never seen before. Absolute emptiness. Not darkness, not light, just nothing. As if whatever wore David's skin wasn't really there at all. And now, after 6 months of dating, he's proposed. Everyone's thrilled, and Ellie's running out of excuses to delay the wedding. Ellie first noticed her ability when she was 7. While other kids made friends based on shared toys or games, she gravitated toward those with bright, clear auras. She instinctively avoided the shadowy ones. Her parents dismissed it as an overactive imagination, but Ellie knew better. The auras never lied. Throughout school, the gift served her well. She avoided bullies before they revealed themselves. She found genuine friends among the sea of fake smiles. In college, she dodged 3 separate roommates who later faced charges for theft. The ability wasn't magic or mind reading, just a simple truth detector, revealing what people truly were beneath their masks. Then came David with his architect's salary and weekend volunteer work. They met at a charity fundraiser where Ellie was photographing donors. Through her camera lens, she spotted him immediately, not because of his obvious good looks, but because of what was missing. Where every other person glowed with color, even the unpleasant ones had some shade of presence, David had nothing. Just a human-shaped void moving through the crowd. Intrigued and disturbed, Ellie approached him. Up close, he seemed normal enough. Warm brown eyes, an easy laugh. But when their hands touched during their introduction, Ellie felt a cold so intense it burned. She should have walked away then. Instead, she accepted his dinner invitation, telling herself it was scientific curiosity. "I've never met anyone quite like you." David told her on their third date, the words echoing her own unspoken thoughts. David was perfect. Too perfect. He remembered every detail she mentioned. His apartment contained books by authors she'd referenced only once. His Spotify playlist mirrored her own musical journey. When she mentioned loving a band from her hometown, tickets to their reunion show appeared the next day. Just lucky timing, he'd said. Her best friend Mia fell for David immediately. He's literally custom made for you, she gushed. The words sent shivers down Ellie's spine. By month 3, David had met everyone in Ellie's life. Her parents adored him. Her normally skeptical brother invited him to weekly poker nights. Her co-workers texted for updates if David didn't accompany her to happy hour. Everyone saw a perfect partner. Ellie saw the void growing larger, somehow hungrier with each passing week. Only her cat, Spencer, seemed to share her concerns. The normally social animal hissed whenever David entered the apartment. Back arched, eyes fixed on something just above David's head that Ellie couldn't see even with her gift. The physical symptoms started small. After nights at David's place, Ellie would wake exhausted with unexplained bruises on her wrists and ankles. She began having memory gaps. Entire evenings she couldn't recall. Photos on her phone showed her at restaurants she didn't remember visiting, wearing clothes she didn't recognize. "You were there," David would insist, showing her pictures of them together. "You ordered the salmon, don't you remember?" And somehow, as he spoke, false memories would form, hazy and dreamlike. Her own reflection began to trouble her. Something about her eyes seemed different, flatter, less vivid. The aura she'd seen around others her entire life started fading, as if her ability was being drained away. Except when it came to David. His emptiness remained stark and clear. Disturbing incidents multiplied. Ellie's journal contained entries in her handwriting that she had no memory of writing. "David is everything I've waited for. David completes me. David knows what I need." Page after page of increasingly desperate declarations of love. Her phone recorded her sleeping, video she never took, showing her lying motionless while something distorted the air above her bed. In one, she could swear she saw herself hovering inches above her own body, like a double exposure. When she tried breaking up with him, the words physically wouldn't form. Her throat closed. Her tongue felt frozen. Instead, she heard herself saying, "I'm just tired. Everything's fine. I love you." David proposed at exactly 6 months in front of her entire family during Sunday dinner. The ring was her grandmother's, a family heirloom she'd never mentioned to him. As everyone cheered, Ellie saw black veins spreading beneath her skin where the ring touched her finger. That night, she finally did research she'd been avoiding. Local history revealed that every 7 years, someone matching David's description appeared in town. Always handsome, always charming, always targeting someone like Ellie, not necessarily beautiful or wealthy, but special in some intangible way. 6 women over the past 40 years, each disappearing shortly after their wedding day. Their bodies never found, their families left with only fond memories of the perfect husbands who also vanished, faces gradually fading from photographs until they couldn't quite remember what the men had looked like at all. The most recent case was Mariana Santos, who vanished in 2016 after marrying a man whose name neighbors remembered differently, Danielle Dennis Derrick. Details varied, but the pattern matched. In Mariana's journal, found hidden in her apartment, she'd written about her fiancé. "He's empty inside, not a person at all, but no one believes me, and now I can't leave." Ellie took the information to Mia, the only person she trusted completely. Mia listened patiently before sighing. "This is exactly what David said might happen," Mia told her, voice gentle but patronizing. "He warned us you've been working too hard, that you might start having these episodes." Horrified, Ellie realized David had already laid groundwork, already isolated her. Everyone thought she was having a nervous breakdown. Everyone except her elderly neighbor, Mrs. Chen, who stopped her in the hallway one evening. "I've seen this before," the old woman whispered, pressing a small jade amulet into Ellie's palm. "In my village, we called them hunger ghosts. They find someone with a bright soul and slowly replace them. They wear down what makes you special until they can wear you instead." The wedding planning accelerated despite Ellie's attempts to delay. Venue mysteriously available despite a 2-year waiting list. Dream dress appearing in her size at a sample sale. Everyone commenting how lucky she was, how meant to be everything seemed. Last week, Ellie found old photographs of herself where her image was growing transparent, while David became more solid. In their most recent photos, she was barely visible, just a faint outline beside his increasingly defined features. Yesterday, she caught her reflection in the store window. For a split second, David's face stared back at her from her own body. When she gasped, her reflection gasped a half second too late. This morning, she woke to find herself unable to feel the floor beneath her feet. Her hand passed through her coffee mug, yet no one at work noticed anything strange. When she tried to tell her coworkers she was literally fading away, "I'm just nervous about the wedding. Cold feet, you know." David texted moments later, "Don't worry, it's almost complete. After Saturday, we'll truly be one. The wedding is tomorrow." Ellie sits at her desk writing this account, unsure if anyone will ever read it. The pen keeps slipping through her increasingly transparent fingers. In the mirror, she catches glimpses of someone else looking out through her eyes, someone empty and hungry. Her research identified only one woman who escaped, Catherine Bell, in 1995. The morning of her wedding, Catherine simply vanished. Not like the others who disappeared after their weddings. She escaped beforehand, leaving everything behind. No one ever heard from her again. Ellie found a photo of Catherine online. The resemblance was striking. They could have been sisters. Even more chilling was the pendant Catherine wore in the photo, identical to the jade amulet Mrs. Chen had given her. When Ellie visited Mrs. Chen's apartment this morning, the landlord informed her the unit had been empty for months. "No elderly Asian woman has lived there for years," he insisted, though Ellie had spoken to her just days ago. The jade amulet grows warm against Ellie's fading skin. Last night she dreamed of a woman whispering instructions. "The exchange goes both ways. What he takes, you can take back, but you must leave everything behind." Tonight, Ellie will make her choice. Step into the void with David forever, or disappear like Catherine, passing the amulet to the next woman who sees the truth, another woman who can see the unseen, who will recognize the emptiness when it comes courting again in 7 years. Either way, by tomorrow morning, Ellie Morgan, as everyone knows her, will cease to exist. The only question is what will remain in her place. A void wearing her skin, or just another unexplained disappearance, and a confused groom left at the altar. The wedding dress hangs by her closet, seeming to glow in the fading light. As darkness falls, Ellie could swear she sees it move slightly, as if someone invisible is already wearing it, waiting for her to step inside. They say love is blind, but what if what loves you is also invisible? In apartments across the city, people are reporting the same disturbing experiences. The feeling of being watched while they sleep, items moving when they turn away, and worst of all, the sensation of something touching them in the dark. Police dismissed these reports until they found the connection. Every victim had recently installed the same dating app, an app that promised to match users with their perfect partner, someone they'd never see coming. It started with small things. A single mother in the downtown area reported her perfume bottles rearranging themselves overnight. A college student noticed his bedroom door closing on its own. A retired teacher kept finding handprints on her bathroom mirror that didn't match her own. These incidents seemed random, disconnected, until Detective Sarah Mercer spotted the pattern. Every person experiencing these disturbances had downloaded Soulmeet, a new dating app that had gone viral in the last 3 months. The app's tagline, "Your perfect match might be closer than you think." Soulmeet wasn't like other dating apps. It didn't show photos or detailed profiles. Instead, it asked deeply personal questions. What's your greatest fear? What do you whisper to yourself when you're alone? What's the worst thing you've ever done? Users reported feeling strangely compelled to answer truthfully, as if the app itself was listening. After answering these questions, users would receive a notification. Match found. They're already getting to know you, but no profile would appear. No messages would come through, just the promise that someone perfect was watching. The app's reviews were polarized. 5-star ratings described feeling a connection like never before and finally being understood. 1-star reviews mentioned strange noises at night and feeling like someone's in my home. These negative reviews disappeared within hours of being posted. The first serious case came 6 weeks after Soulmeet launched. Elijah Morris, 34, called 911 at 2:10 a.m., hysterical. He reported waking up unable to move, feeling the weight of someone sitting on his chest, hearing breathing that wasn't his own. When police arrived, they found Morris alone in his apartment, but every mirror was shattered with the same message scratched into each one: "I'm your perfect match." Morris had deleted Soulmeet 3 days earlier. 2 days after Morris's incident, Zoe Chen reported similar experiences. After using the app for 2 weeks, she began feeling a presence in her shower. Steam would reveal handprints sliding down her bathroom tiles. At night, she felt something stroking her hair as she tried to sleep. When she deleted the app, the activity intensified. Objects flew across her room. Scratches appeared on her back, scratches spelling out, "Don't leave me." By month 3, 17 similar cases had been reported. Detective Mercer tried to track down Soulmeet's developers, but the company's information led to empty addresses. The app's privacy policy, buried in 30 pages of legalese, contained a disturbing clause. By using Soulmeet, users consent to observation by their matches through non-traditional means. Tech experts who examined the app found it used minimal data and required unusual permissions. Access to the device's microphone, camera, and location, even when the app wasn't in use. Most disturbing was its ability to activate these features without triggering the phone's notification lights. Dr. Amit Patel, a paranormal researcher brought into the investigation, proposed a shocking theory. What if this app isn't connecting people to other users? What if it's inviting something else in, something that was already here, but couldn't interact without permission? The breakthrough came when police found Soulmeet's server location, an abandoned mental hospital scheduled for demolition. Inside, they discovered a single computer running in the basement, connected to equipment decades old. According to hospital records, the basement had once housed experiments in remote viewing and non-corporeal connection during the 1970s. Among the papers scattered around the server room was a journal belonging to Dr. Marcus Reed, who had conducted experiments attempting to contact entities existing adjacent to our reality. His final entry, dated 1978, read, "They can't touch our world without invitation. They need permission to enter. They're so lonely, so hungry for connection." The most disturbing evidence came from comparing victims' phone data. Each had answered Soulmeet's questions differently, yet analysis of their home security cameras revealed identical patterns of anomalies. Strange blurs moving across rooms, distortions in the air like heat waves, and in some footage, the faint outline of a figure standing over them as they slept. A figure that changed shape to match whatever each victim had described as their ideal partner. When the police attempted to shut down the server, officers reported hearing voices coming through their radios. Countless voices repeating, "Don't make us leave. We finally found where we belong." The server was successfully destroyed last week, and Soul Meat disappeared from app stores worldwide. Initially, victims reported a decrease in activity, a sense of relief. Then, something worse began. Those who had used the app started experiencing the same nightmare. They're lying in bed when an invisible presence whispers in their ear, "You invited me in. You can't uninvite me. We're a perfect match." Yesterday, Detective Mercer interviewed former Soul Meat user Danielle Wright, who hasn't slept in 6 days. Wright showed police his bedroom, where something unseen has carved countless messages into his walls. "I'm still here. I see you. I'll never leave." Most disturbing was the message carved above his bed, "If I can't have you, no one will." The city has established a support group for affected Soul Meat users, though attendance drops each week as more members report feeling followed home after meetings. Tech companies have begun scanning other dating apps for similar code patterns, and police now advise everyone to check app permissions carefully before downloading. Last night, every former Soul Meat user received the same text message from an unknown number. "Miss me? I've learned how to use the phones now. Soon I won't need an app to find new lovers." Police are still trying to trace the source. Meanwhile, dating app downloads have hit an all-time low in the affected areas. People are deleting their accounts, removing their profiles. They're starting to understand a terrible truth. Some connections once made can never be broken. And something is still watching, waiting, swiping right.